A very good morning to all our viewers. You've tuned in live to this broadcast on Moneycontrol. You're watching Newspresso with me, Stacy Pereira, bright and early this Monday morning. And as the drill goes, we're going to be giving you a lowdown of all the top stories from across the globe, insights into India, as well as the latest trends that are doing the rounds, which will give you the edge and keep you informed ahead of the others. So let's get straight to it and bring you all that we're getting from our global dispatch. Well, it seems like it was a mixed week on Wall Street with both losses as well as gains for indices there. The S&P 500 as well as the Nasdaq declining about 0.3% and 1.9% respectively on a weekly basis. Both registered their second straight losing week. The Dow Jones, though, was the outlier of the three major averages, advancing 0.6% this week. While the CPI reading, though, brought much cheer to the Dow Jones. Inflation data released on Friday complicated the picture, though, with July's Producer Price Index, which tracks the price wholesalers pay for raw goods. That one rose by about 0.3% from the previous month. Among the stock-specific action, it was the semiconductor stocks that languished, pulling down the Nasdaq. Stocks like AMD, Micron, Nvidia all closed lower. And if you look at the three major indices, those were trading lower. By the end of the 15 days of August, you could say they are lower than what they began in for the month of August. Now, European markets, those ones too close lower on Friday as investors have continued to digest the earnings season as well as the latest U.S. inflation data. The Pan-European Stock 600 index, that one ended the session lower, down by about 1.1% as all sectors ended in the negative territory. Tech stocks were the ones with major losses, closing down by about 2.1%, while auto and mining stocks slid by 1.8 and 1.7% respectively. Now, all major averages from UK's FTSE 100 to Germany's DAX as well as France's CAC, all of them slid close to a percentage point. In macro data, though, we did see UK's growth figures surprise to the upside in the second quarter, growing by 0.2%. And Asia-Pacific markets, those one have largely fallen this Monday morning, led by Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index. That index has tumbled more than 2% on opening, dragged by the basic materials as well as consumer cyclical stocks. However, the real estate sector, that one also is seeing a major sell-off. Japan's Nikkei 225 has fallen by 0.44% to start the week on a negative note, whereas South Korea's Kospi is also trading down by 0.63%. And on the commodities front, well, we have seen an upward journey for oil prices, the seventh consecutive week, we could say, of gains, backed by that supply tightening as well as record demand forecast. Now, international benchmark Brent crude futures, those one rose to about $86.81 per barrel, up by about 0.66% during this week. While rising oil prices is always a risk for those oil importers like India, but experts expect the possibilities of technical correction in the prices in the coming days, given that consistent rise in the recent past, before continuation for a further rally. And hundreds of small shareholders in Credit Suisse will now file a legal suit over the bank's forced rescue merger with UBS to obtain that compensation for their losses. This, according to a report by the Financial Times. Now, the complaint will be filed today by Eric Scosche, who is a Swiss Shareholders Defense Association, a part of that group. Now, around 1,000 shareholders have joined the complaint by becoming SASV members. This is what the group is going to be called. And it was back in March that we saw Swiss officials arrange that takeover by UBS as Credit Suisse was at the brink of collapse. Now, the merger terms, though, value the bank at about $3.2 billion, but the shareholders feel that this valuation was much lower than the 7 billion franc that the bank was actually valued at earlier. Meanwhile, we did see on Friday UBS announcing that it had ended that 9 billion Swiss franc, close to $10.27 billion loss protection agreement, as well as 100 billion Swiss franc public liquidity backstop, which was originally put in place by the Swiss government when the bank took over the rival bank Credit Suisse back in March. Now, UBS shares, though, ended the day on Friday much higher, up by about 4.7%. Now, on Friday, we told you about those wildfires in Hawaii, and over the weekend, that situation has only turned grimmer. Now, the death toll has now climbed to about 96 in those wildfires. Now, this is the deadliest wildfire in the history of the United States, with the Hawaii governor now warning that the death toll will, in fact, rise further. Hundreds of citizens are unaccounted for, and many are still in shelters across Maui. As per the officials, the wildfires are under control as of today, but we've also seen how climate change has triggered these wildfires across the USA as well as Europe in the recent times. Meanwhile, Amazon's executive chairman Jeff Bezos, as well as his fiancée Lauren Sanchez, the vice chair of Bezos Earth Fund, have decided to donate about $100 million to help rebuild Maui. And a quick recap of all the trading action on the Lal Street that went down on Friday. Well, we did see the Nifty 50 close in the red, the lowest in the last 5 days, we could say, and below that important support zone of about 19,500, which can be cause of more short-term negativity, we could say. Now, this would also mean that interesting to see how the index will now behave in current weeks, as this week will be quite crucial for the fact that it will tend to show us what the next leg will look like. Now, even though the broader indices too saw some bit of correction, they have been the ones keeping up the buzz, we could say, in the markets. Both the mid-cap and small-cap indices are now outperforming the large caps by over the 3-year index, if you have to take the average. Now, among the stocks in focus today will be ITC and Divi's Lab, because they're the ones going to be coming out with their Q1 numbers. We'll also have the pharma stocks like Biocon as well as Lupin, a lot of action happening in that space. So those ones should be on your radar. And well, coming to a truncated week, we are going to see a lot of action even in the primary markets, as there are 4 IPOs that will be opening for subscription, as well as 5 new firms which will be added to the bourses. Now, polymer-based molded product maker that is called Pyramid Technoplast. That one is the only IPO in the main board which will be bidding, and the bidding for which will start on August 18th. But apart from Pyramid, we also have TVS Supply Chain Solution. That one will be which is a part of TVS's Mobility Group, and is looking to raise about 880 crore via its IPO. That subscription will end today. And as far as the listings are concerned on the main board, we do have SBFC Finance. That one will be debuting on the bourses on August 16th once we come back from that holiday. And while in the SME segment, we do have diamond and jewelry maker Sura Designs, which will be opening its 2 crore worth issue for subscription on August 17th, whereas EPC service company Bondada Engineering, that one, as well as agrochemical formulation maker Crop Life Sciences, both of those will launch their maiden public issue on August 18th. We also have a Shelter Pharma, which will be closing its bidding today and has already been subscribed over 3 times, this too in the SME segment. So a lot of action that we are going to see there, especially in the primary markets in the coming days. This whole week, a lot of action expected. Now, moving on then, let's look at what's happening in the corporate front. Now, we did have Deloitte, which has gone ahead and resigned as the auditor of Adani Ports company. Now, this resignation comes just weeks after Deloitte raised concerns over the Hidenburgh report. Now, Deloitte has been the auditor for Adani Ports since 2017, and in 2022, it was given another 5-year term. Meanwhile, following that Deloitte's resignation, Adani Ports has now appointed MSKA Associates as its new auditor. On Saturday, Adani said that the resignation by Deloitte is not convincing or sufficient to warrant such a move. As per sources, though, Adani Group also added that the global firm held all the necessary information in order to conduct the process. And well, moving on to other news that's making national headlines. Well, Himachal Pradesh has been facing quite a bit of incessant rainfall, and due to which the IMD has now gone ahead and issued a yellow alert for the state. Schools and colleges have been asked to remain shut for today, although several roads and highways that were blocked due to the landslides have now opened up. The rains and landslides have damaged quite a bit of crop as well as livelihoods and livestock in parts of Hamirpur as well as Mandi districts. Now, since the onset of monsoon, over 250 people have died in the state just due to rainfalls. It has also cost the exchequer and the state about 720 crore rupees. Well, and now we are all aware of how ChatGPT took the world by storm when it came as that fastest growing app in history ever when it was launched back in November of 2022. Now, what you may not know, though, is that Sam Altman-led OpenAI is burning about $700,000 or roughly 5.80 crore rupees every single day in order to run ChatGPT services. Now, according to a report by Analytics India magazine, the company could go bankrupt by the end of 2024. In fact, Altman's OpenAI has made several attempts in order to monetize even ChatGPT 3.5 as well as ChatGPT 4. But the company is not able to generate enough revenue in order to even break even at this point. The report cites the company's APIs as part of the problem. For now, though, Microsoft's $10 billion investment into OpenAI is possibly what is keeping the company afloat for the moment. So probably not such great news that we may get to hear from OpenAI and ChatGPT. Although it's become a part and parcel of our daily lives, we might actually see that company go bankrupt sooner if they continue the way they are. But also, let's move on to some sporting action. And well, if you are somebody who watched Saturday's game, you know what I'm talking about. It is the Australia versus France in the FIFA Women's World Cup. Now, they really created history there while it was the shootout that 10 penalty kicks each. Can you imagine that much for a women's game, bringing the total to about 20, with Australia finally winning that match at 7-6. Now, the video went viral soon after that on the internet, in which it was seen that passengers in an Emirates flight were seen watching the game, and the video had about all the people on that flight really looking and watching that game, except for one person on that flight. And you can see the cheers that went up on air when that historic last game. Well, after beating France, Australia has entered the semi-final round, though, and it will go on to play against England on the 16th of August, while Spain and Sweden will now be the next semi-finals round, which will take place tomorrow. And well, moving on to the latest updates from that much anticipated Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg cage match. That's right, a chat between both those tech giants has been leaked on X.com, in which the American writer Walter Isaacson has said that he received a text from Musk, and in which Musk has asked Zuckerberg to fight him on Monday, which is today in US timing, at Zuckerberg's home in Palo Alto. Now, going by the response from the leaked chat, seems like Zuckerberg is quite annoyed and has said that he doesn't want to hype something that might never happen. Over the weekend, though, we did see Musk also put out a tweet where he said that the fight will be managed by himself as well as Zuckerberg's foundation and not the UFC, and the live stream will take place on X.com as well as Meta platforms. Now, Musk has also posted an image with his child in which he's written that he's been practicing martial arts with his sparring partner, and the date of the fight, though, hasn't been announced yet. Musk did say that all proceeds will go to the veterans. He's also said that he is talking to Italian officials to see if the match can be held somewhere in Italy. And let's get you up to speed with all the action that is expected. Now, August 14th is packed with many important days, be it national as well as global. So we are going to tell you all the macroeconomic events that you need to be looking out for. For one, there's CPI inflation as well as WPI inflation reading for the month of July, which will be released later today. The WPI about 12 o'clock and CPI at 5:30. So you can keep out for those numbers there from the macro front. We also have the Maharashtra Housing Area Development Authority, or MHADA as we know it, which will be announcing those lottery results for the MHADA lottery of 2023. This was much anticipated, and this will happen at 3:30 p.m. today. So around 4,000 affordable homes were up for sales, and there are people right from MLAs to politicians who are bidding for this. And remember, the highest income group category, which will see an apartment price at about 7.57 crore rupees, that is also up for grabs. So if you are somebody who has applied for this, you may want to keep your time out at 3:30 to see if you've made it, if your bid has made it for the lottery. And also, as we gear up to celebrate India's 77th Independence Day, we will be seeing three-time Grammy winner Ricky Cage, who will be releasing his instrumental rendition of the Indian national anthem. And now this is in collaboration with London-based Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. Now, this will happen on the eve of August 15, so we will be looking forward to what this rendition is. But remember, this is going to be the largest symphony orchestra that has ever recorded an Indian national anthem, and it will also have even though British have ruled us for 200 years, this is an added bonus that an Indian composer will be conducting the British orchestra and playing the national anthem. So we have lots to look forward to, a lot of preparations that are taking place in anticipation of India celebrating its 77th Independence Day. And we'd like to, wish all of our viewers to a very happy Independence Day in advance, because markets will be closed and so we might not be here tomorrow. But with that, it's a wrap on this dose of Newspresso, and hope it was useful. And you have a lot to be looking forward to through the day and also through the week, and it gives you that kickstart to your day. But don't forget, we'll be back here on Wednesday, same place, same time. So don't come back here for your fresh shot of Newspresso. And from all of us that put this show together, thanks so much for tuning in.